What's up, everybody? GeauxBurns climbing back upon Mount Soapbox for another rant. And if you have a rant suggestion, yes you, whether it's about Grand Theft Auto, Mafia, Red Dead, gaming in general, YouTube, something you think I might want to rant about that I haven't ranted about already, check the playlist just in case. Be sure and send it my way, either below in the comment section, Twitter, or Facebook. All that linked below in the description section. So this is kind of a continuation of yesterday's Mafia free ride. By the way, I hope you guys really enjoyed that video as much as I enjoyed it, because it was a lot of fun. And it really got the member berries, juicing back up again on me, because I absolutely love this game. The original Mafia. And for the life of me, I don't know why this has yet to be remade. And that's why I'm calling it a remake, not a remaster, because we talked about or ranted about remastered games a few months ago, and a lot of them were still relatively new games, only a few years old, and a lot of the so-called remastered games were basically demastered. So yeah, I ranted about that. What I'm talking about is like rebuilding the game from the ground up, similar to what they did with Crash Bandicoot, and that's getting like great reviews from everybody, including Carrick, my friend over at ACG, who's one of the best reviewers on YouTube for indie and AAA games. So yes, I want a remake of the original Mafia game, City of Lost Heaven. So let's talk about Mafia City of Lost Heaven for all of you that are like, GeauxBurns, I've never heard of Mafia City of Lost Heaven, or you are fans of Mafia 2 and 3, but less familiar with the first Mafia game. So Mafia, the City of Lost Heaven, sandbox third-person shooter video game that was released on PC back in 2002. By the way, this information comes from Mafia Wiki, so any information you need regarding Mafia, Mafia 2, or Mafia 3, Google Mafia Wiki, because there's all the information right there concerning the Mafia franchise. And I picked up this game when it came out in 2002. I was already a Grand Theft Auto fan, and naturally, I'm like, yes, another open world game, obviously set in the 1930s during the Prohibition era with gangsters and Tommy guns and old-timey cars. That was enough to sell me on that game whenever I first bought it on PC. And I fell in love with the Mafia franchise from the very beginning. Not just because I happen to like, Mafia films like Godfather, Goodfellas, Casino, Scarface, Departed, the list goes on and on. This was a fantastic game, originally developed by Illusion Softworks, which later on became 2K Czech, and now, according to one of our subscribers, Local Defender, who did a little digging, a little researching, 2K Czech is now officially part of Hangar 13. So they've merged in with the Hangar 13 empire. And so, yes, this is a game that I have always had a special place in my heart for, and I was so excited whenever it ended up on my doorstep, let's see, a week ago, because I ordered it last week, as I mentioned in the free ride video yesterday, and I didn't think it would actually come, and I didn't think it would actually work on my computer. But not only did I get to work on my computer, I was also able to record this video, and yesterday's video as well, with a little tinkering with OBS, but eventually I got it to work. So anyways, back to what we were discussing regarding the original Mafia game. It's set in the 1930s. It spans between 1930 1938 in a fictional city known as Lost Heaven. It's loosely based off mostly Chicago, with a little bit of other cities mixed in as well. But, it was a great city, and I absolutely loved roaming around, just driving around Lost Heaven and listening to the old-timey music that constantly plays in the game. It had fantastic story, it had great characters, it had 21 missions, and yeah, 50 plus classic cars. There was Free Ride, which is what I'm doing right now, and Free Ride Extreme, which unlocks later on. I've yet to start the actual game itself. I'm waiting patiently till after I'm done with Mafia: The Sign of the Times, which is coming, let's see, Tuesday, July 25th. So once I'm done with that and I get a review up, then we'll start Let's Playing Mafia. So yesterday and today is just a taste of things to come. So yeah, a lot of other awesome things regarding Mafia. We had a lot of guns from this time period. You had the Tommy gun, aka the Thompson. One of my favorite pistols, the 1911, the Magnum, revolver, double barrel shotgun, and more. You had gun, melee combat, driving, car chases, third-person exploration of Lost Heaven, as well as the countryside, and even on the console exclusive, which really wasn't as good. They did come out with a console version 2004 for PlayStation 2 and the original Xbox. It was not as good, but they also added something else to the console version of Mafia, Grand Prix, which was basically racing on the streets of Lost Heaven. It was, I think, 13 circuits, I believe, and that was kind of cool. So that's something I would definitely like to see in a remake of Mafia, that implemented as well. So you could have racing in the game, too. I mean, there is racing in, like, the original Mafia game, and it's kind of a pain in the ass to get past that chapter. I'm not looking forward to it, by the way. Not because I'm a lousy racer, as most of you know from my Racing Badly series. Yeah. But anyways, you know, there's a lot of other cool stuff about the original Mafia game. It was so ahead of its time. There was detailed interiors of the airport, museum, a church, a hotel, the abandoned prison, even a restaurant, and Don Salieri's bar. Now, Don Salieri is like one of the two big mob bosses in Lost Heaven. And he's the one that your protagonist, who is Tommy Angelo, ends up working for. We'll learn more about him in the Let's Play. So, other cool things about this was the fact that the weather changed in the game along with the time of day. It would change from like daytime to nighttime. And it's something that a lot of games do now that we just take for granted. But this was back in 2002, nearly 15 years ago. And what was cool about the vehicles is that they would take, pretty, realistic damage that rivaled other games at the time. They would break down. They could sustain realistic damage, like, bullets. Parts of the vehicle would fall off if you got into wrecks from crashes. Oh, they would also run out of gas. So that was another interesting factor concerning vehicles in Mafia, as opposed to most other, like, open world games. You actually had to refuel vehicles in Mafia and Mafia 2. And you had to follow the speed limit. As you may have noticed, I haven't exactly been following the speed limit in this game. I don't care. I'm just having too much fun driving around. Screw the police! So yes, if you ran out of gas, the car would just stop working. You'd either have to go steal another car. And that was another cool factor, is that Tommy actually had to learn how to, pick locks in order to unlock vehicles. Some vehicles at the beginning he can't unlock because he doesn't know how to unlock it, but in other vehicles he can do. So that was another cool factor to it as well. And of course, if you keep speeding, the cops keep chasing you. First, they'll simply write you a ticket. But if you start causing problems, they're going to want to arrest you. You start doing even worse, you get a wanted level, and they are going to try to kill you. They will. And they get pretty fierce. Them and the mobsters during free mode. So you piss off the cops enough, they start coming after you with shotguns. And when they get shotties on your ass, you're pretty much screwed. And then another cool factor about this game that I've pointed out in the free ride is the fact that you have, like, in the water, you see a freighter moving around. And this was 2002. Plus, there's trolleys and trains moving around the game as well. And you can actually ride the trolleys and trains. And if you looked on the ground during the free ride, there were bullet casings, shells, used Tommy gun drums, and magazines from the 1911 would just be laying on the ground after you were done, getting into a firefight with the police or with mobsters. It was just so cool to see that in a game, and just driving around playing this game. Even just, like I said, just driving around. It's so beautiful. I mean, it's old. I get it. It's 15 years old. Some of you are like, wow, that's an ugly looking game. Look, for its time, this was a beautiful game. And it did have its flaws, okay? Most definitely. Some of the voice acting could have been better. Some of it wasn't bad. I like the voice actor that voiced Tommy Angelo, though. But maybe with the remake, maybe Hangar 13 should maybe rehire some people. But I would not want the game to deviate too much from the story that's already established regarding Mafia City of Lost Heaven. Now, I realize that maybe they might want to add a few little things here or there to a Mafia remake, which is totally fine, as long as it works and fits into that world of the 1930s, Prohibition era, being part of the mob, running a speakeasy or rum running or moonshining. As long as it fits the narrative. I have no problem with them adding as much additional stuff on the side as well to give the game plenty of replay value, which is why I like the idea of adding, the Grand Prix from console to this remake as well. And it's unfortunate the console versions were not as good when they dropped in 2004. It's just the problem was, back then, a PlayStation 2 and the original Xbox just couldn't play the same type of game that a PC could. Now, that's become a lot more closer. You know, the gap between PC games and consoles, you know, case in point, the PlayStation Pro and the Xbox One X coming out this November. So yeah, it's becoming a lot better and easier to put a top-of-the-line PC game and port it over to current-gen consoles, and for the most part, you still get the same experience, more or less. I mean, maybe better graphics, maybe better frame rate over on PC, but you still get almost everything else as well on current-gen consoles. That was not the case 15 years ago with the PS2 and the original Xbox. And I really feel like that the big reason why I want this game remade is because of the fact that you have a lot of fans in the Mafia franchise that played Mafia 2, that obviously have played Mafia 3, that never had the chance to experience the original Mafia game because it sold 2 million copies over its span. You know, as of 2008, according to that Mafia wiki page that we were on a moment ago. Link below in the description section, by the way. But at the same time, I mean, that's not that many copies. And I was lucky to find a copy, a decent copy, on Amazon. And I had to pay at least $70 for it. Like I said, I was surprised I got it. And it actually worked. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's an experience that, you know, I definitely would love to go back and revisit. I mean, I'm going to in the next few weeks, but I'd love a remake version, you know, with modern graphics, you know, of it looking like pristine and beautiful, just like, you know, with 2017 or whatever the future holds for gaming, you know, going back in time and playing, you know, Mafia, the City of Lost Heaven with up-to-date graphics, with, you know, some improvements as well, because like I said, the game was flawed, it wasn't perfect, it had issues, but at the same time, for its time, Mafia was absolutely beautiful. In my opinion, it was a masterpiece. And if Hangar 13 does remake this game, and I hope that they do, or they're going to, or they currently are, then I hope you guys put a lot of love into it. I hope you are true to the original game, and you don't cut corners, and if you do add anything to it, that it only enhances the experience of the original Mafia, and it doesn't take away from it. So that's what I sincerely hope for, is that eventually we do see a remake of Mafia. I mean, it's almost 15 years old, and you've had so many other present games over the past few years getting remaked, I mean remastered or demastered or whatever. I think that if there's a game that deserves a remake, it is most definitely, in my opinion, Mafia, the City of Lost Heaven.